let's get the view of a past player. Chris Wood, a European Tour golfer, Ryder Cup player back in 2016. Chris played for Team Europe at the Hazeltine National Golf Club in Chaska, Minnesota. And I'm delighted to say Chris joins us live in the show. Chris, good morning. How did your experience then compare to what you witnessed over the weekend?
Morning, guys. Yeah, I would say it's gone up a level for sure. I certainly experienced a little bit of it when I played. My wife had a little bit in the singles match when I played. But I think the whole situation being in New York, there was a lot talked about, wasn't there? Obviously, before the Ryder Cup, leading up to it, that the sports fans in New York are rowdy. They can cross the line, and we saw that happen.
And Chris, what about Rory's comments? The abuse is unacceptable. Golf should be held to a higher standard. It's your love. It's your sport. Should it?
I think being where it was had such an influence on it. The Americans in general, they tend to be sports fans, don't they? Whereas when we play in Europe, we get more sort of hardy golf fans. So it's quite a different demographic. So in terms of coming back over to Adair Manor in 2 years' time, I wouldn't have any worries about it. The fans are quite different. You hear a lot when the US players come and play in the Open Championship, they often say about these are the best golf fans in the world. And obviously there'll be some Americans that travel over to Ireland. There'll be a big contingent, I'm sure. But in general, I've got no worries about 2 years' time.
Chris, you know, Martin and Simon will come in, I'm sure, but when you got that little bit of abuse back in 2016, were you like Rory and Lowry? Did you give a bit back?
No, because I was playing with Justin Rose in our foursomes game, and he gave me a nice bit of advice. He said, just don't react. He said, we're playing over here at the moment. You know, you're playing some events in America. You've got to come back and play on your own. Don't react. That's the best thing to do. And I think all those comments that they get, I genuinely think the Europeans would use it as fuel, because I've seen Rory at events that we've played, you know, tour events, and he's come up against some adversity, not on this level, but sometimes as a golfer, you can have a poor finish or things don't quite go your way, and you come off the golf course really agitated. And I've seen Rory, he'll do something like he'll go to the gym, he'll sprint it off, get it out of his system. And we've seen it in the Ryder Cup a couple of years ago in Rome when the bust up with Patrick Cantlay's caddy. He turned that sort of on its head the following day. And I remember thinking, I wouldn't want to be playing Rory tomorrow in the singles, because he will just be using that. And he went on to win that match. But I really think the European spirit, they would just use it as so much fuel to the fire.
Mr. Jordan here, Chris is saying the Americans bottled it over the first couple of days. Do you agree?
Well, they got hammered, didn't they, for the first 2 days? I think this Ryder Cup really highlighted the Europeans as a team and the Americans as individuals. And we saw that over the format. The first 2 days, you're obviously out in twos, and you feel very much a team. When you get to Sunday and you go out and play your singles match, all of a sudden you feel quite exposed. You feel on your own. And Darren Clark, the captain, when I played, was very much, he talked about that a lot going into our singles, to unite with your caddy as much as you can. We all like a little bit of space at times, but you had to try and carry that team element over, and that's where sometimes the support from the vice captains can be really useful. I noticed Thomas Bjorn was with Rory for all 18 holes yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
almost playing bodyguard. Thomas is a great ally, but you don't want to be on the wrong side of Thomas Bjorn.
No, it doesn't look it, does it, Simon?
I was going to ask you, Chris, what did you make of the last day in terms of the Americans' performance? Did you look at it as you were watching it thinking that the momentum was going with them, that the European resolve was weakening, or did you attribute it just to being brilliant American play? And the second part of the question was, what did you make of Bryson DeChambeau coming back from 5 down against Matt Fitzpatrick? And what would you be thinking if you were Matt Fitzpatrick during the course of that game?
Yeah, I mean, the American display overall was outstanding. the first 2 days, I've never seen the Americans miss so many opportunities to either win a hole or have a hole. So I think it was a matter of time before that happened. They go out in the singles with nothing to lose. Bryson was almost playing sort of cheerleader from day one. He was ramping the crowd up. He thrives on that. I thought it was a tough game for Fitzy because Fitzy's a quiet lad. He just goes about his business. But when he gets 5 up, you're thinking, well, that's a point in the bag for Europe. But I go back to Bryson. At the Open Championship, he's up to 78 in the first round this year and finished in the top 10. There's something about him that you have to admire. Love him or loathe him, you have to admire his fight and how his never give up, never say die attitude.
Martin, what do you want to say to Chris before he leaves us? Some great points from Chris Wood this morning.
Yeah, Chris, you just mentioned there some of the Americans going into the last day with nothing to lose. And I would never want to disagree with you having played the game, but I would have thought that they would have a lot to lose because they were already in an embarrassing position. So I think that they showed some fight I probably do take your point as well too that there seems to be more about a team about Europe as well, and has been for the last couple of Ryder Cups. But what I was trying to say is that what would have happened if let's say Cameron Young as beaten early on, things like this here. Yeah. The last thing the Americans want, they were already in a desperate shape. They were in desperate shape, but I don't think that they had nothing to lose. I think they had plenty to lose in that sense.
I take your point. I think at that level of sport, as you well know, it's such fine margins. There were, I mean, let's just take Shane, for example. Shane hit an unbelievable shot into 16 to about 3 feet. Mm-hmm. Russell Henley was about 25, 30 feet away, and he's 1 up at the time. And you almost see that as, well, Shane's going to win this, so I'll get back to all square. Russell Henley knocked his putt in, mm-hmm. and obviously Shane knocked his in to remain 1 down. But there were such fine margins at that stage where it could have played out quite differently. And I think for about an hour, there was genuine worry as a European player and a European fan to think this is actually possible here. The Americans could do it, but thankfully, just got across the line.
Chris, give me 1 word to finish with. As a former European Ryder Cup player, how do you feel this morning?
Inspired. It's unbelievable to watch, and as a player, if you ever need any inspiration, just watch the Ryder Cup.
Top man. Chris Wood, thank you so much. Chris played in the European Ryder Cup in 2016.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the TalkSport app and on your smart speaker. TalkSport.